find yourself venturing into a world that is unfamiliar to you in every single way. All you have to your name is your wits and a broken phone that has no internet. But wait, you have the MidFall Podcast in your hands. Here you can listen to the tales of your three hosts, Luis, Josh, and Jared, as they venture through their own creative woes and whatnot. Get ready to be entertained through your wildest dreams as you conquer and face this new threatening world. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the MidFall Podcast. I am your host for today, Mr. J-Rod and Mr. Jared, and we have Mr. Louie and Mr. Yosh accompanying as well. How we doing, gents?
Hello.
Hello, everybody.
Doing all right?
Doing just fine. Exactly.
Well, doing pretty lovely here today. As tradition with the MidFall Podcast, we like to begin with our announcements. First off, if you haven't checked it out already, we have a merch store called Curse Realm Crypt, which will be available in our link tree down below. We know it's active, we know it's cool, because we just got our first order. Let's go, boys.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, if you haven't checked it out, go check it out. There's a lot of cool stuff there. We even got Black Midfall themed stuff. So yeah. Secondly, we have a Mr. Yosh who wants to specifically talk about some no respawn stuff. Go ahead, Mr. Yosh.
Yes, so, no respawn. We're still uploading consistently. Every week we have at least 1 to 2 videos going up, and it's going great. And so there are going to be more videos coming soon. Everyone here wants to be uploading videos on it, so we're going to be getting a lot more content there for you guys. And then when it comes to games in general, I'm going to be switching things up a little bit and switch over to Marvel Rivals. I've been no-lifing that game recently, and the game, I've been testing it since the first test, and I fell in love with it the first test, and I honestly fell in love with it more now that it's out because they did a lot of good changes and new characters and additions that were necessary. So that game is going to get videos on the No Respawn channel. I probably have if I wanted to make it so each video is 2 games, I probably have 8 videos that I could make. But it's going to be around 1 video a week. I might do some double uploads just to get some content out because I want to get us in the algorithm for that game. But just so y'all know, there was a game where I dropped a clean 31 kills, I believe, and 0 deaths.
Ooh.
So I'm finding my groove.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, it's going pretty well. The game is hella fun. I've been speaking about it almost every time we get in a call since last week or so. You guys are going to love it as soon as you hop in. It's so much freaking fun. But yeah, it's coming to No Respawn. Look forward to that.
Dude, I've been hearing a lot about how Iron Fist, Spider-Man, and what was it, Jeff the Shark?
Yeah.
Have been the bane of everyone's existence recently.
Dude. Yeah, so people hate Jeff the Shark because he can swallow people and jump off the map and kill them with him. And I don't really hate it. I think it's kind of funny, but people hate it. Iron Fist needs a nerf though. I will say that right now. Iron Fist is the most annoying character in the world. Leanne Lee, you have a special place in my heart full of hatred. I'm kidding. That character's nice. I like Iron Fist. I think they did the character right, but he's just a bit too powerful. That's it.
So if you guys are excited about that, expect that pretty soon, coming from Mr. Yosh and whatnot. So, if you guys have seen the title, we're going to be talking about Dragon Ball stuff. We're going to be talking about Dragon Ball stuff today. And for this special one, we're actually going to be talking about the newest series in Dragon Ball known as Dragon Ball Daima, for those who don't know. You can watch it on...
Daima.
Eh?
Daima.
Yeah, you can go ahead and watch that on Crunchyroll and on Netflix. It comes out every week so far. For us, we have just Episode 8 is the most recent episode. I believe on Friday, episode 9 will be available on those sites as well. So, I made sure that these guys got to see a little bit of Dragon Ball Daima, and I want to hear their thoughts about what they have seen so far. So, please, gents, tell me your thoughts, tell me your opinions, tell me what you love, what you don't love. Say it all.
So, I'm gonna go ahead and just jump in, sorry, Yish. But I unfortunately, just because my take it might be a little quicker, but unfortunately I just didn't have as much time to go ahead and check out these episodes. But I liked so much that it was one kind of taking a similar idea that GT had and really expanded upon it, or just, you know, had a way another take on it. That's, you know, something that I thought was really cool. What I also really liked was it was a lot more story driven than previously. And what I mean by that is it was just, I don't know, this feels a lot quicker. And, you know, you guys mentioned previously that it was about 20 episodes per season?
Yeah. About somewhere around there, yeah.
And I do like the speed, obviously, just because maybe it had something to do with the time that these animes came out at, but there is definitely plenty of filler in Dragon Ball. So I enjoyed this take on it. So yeah, especially expanding with everything in the demon realm, and especially too not taking place around the time that Dragon Ball Super came out, where the whole power scaling thing gets kind of crazy. I like how they went back in time and, you know, made Super Saiyan significant again and all that stuff. So yeah, that's what I like so far.
Yeah, I'm of a similar wavelength. I really like, because Luis mentioned GT, and growing up, Luis and I'm pretty sure Luis also did. I love GT, and I think Luis did too.
Yes, sir.
It just had like that adventure vibe that we loved, and the Dragon Ball series always had that, don't get me wrong, but GT had like a special place in our hearts. And so coming into Daima, seeing or feeling the same vibe in Daima was really interesting, and arguably it's what makes the show as good as it is for me. I caught up to episode 8, I believe, and I know we'll get into it further and later on, but I really like the development that we've been seeing. Like, we've been able to learn more about the Supreme Kai. We've been able to learn more about like random stuff like the dragon or Shenron, like, you know, oh, I only do 3 wishes for my friends or something like that. Just like the humor that Toriyama used to have in the series. Like, I know there's humor in Super, but I don't really watch Super, if I'm being honest. Like, I should be watching Super, but there's so much to catch up on that I don't. So Daima being new, and I think Toriyama knew this, Daima being new is a really good like reintroduction for a lot of people. It's a good send-off, and it's a good feeling to watch it and feel like, you know, this is what GT could have been. Like, GT could have been this great. Like, GT was not as great as people remember, but it was nice to watch growing up, to be honest. But Daima's really nice. I really like the new characters we're introduced to, and I'm really hopeful that these new characters, in some capacity, I'm not sure if all of them will, but some of them I hope they stay in the series to some extent, because it would be cool to like see some of them later on in Super and stuff like that. But I like the new world that we're in, the Demon Realm. I think the world building they're doing is really nice, and the show is a little slow, but it's slow in a good way, in which it's not like super fast paced, forcing everything down our throat, like making us watch and listen to this, not understanding what the hell's going on. But yeah, with Super Saiyan, it's really interesting to see it again. It's really fun. I like that he's not just going like God Ki or whatever. It doesn't even have that yet, right? Like, this is before Super, So he doesn't really like do anything other than Super Saiyan, which is really nice. I like the freshness of the series, and some of the humor is really good too.
Yeah, I agree on that. One of the things that I like about how Daima is navigating its story is that it's not letting the fight scenes be like right at the front. It's really allowing the story to really expand itself, and the fight scenes are almost like the icing on the cake, you know?
Yeah.
And I feel like that's a very fresh interpretation to what, what we've been kind of seeing in like Super and somewhat in Dragon Ball Z as well. I know the story was still very important within both of them, but sometimes it felt like the fight scenes carried the story more than the actual like narrative itself, if you kind of get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
So for a new person getting into this, let's say they've watched Dragon Ball Z, haven't really seen Super, like you were saying, how do you, I guess, approach Daima? What would be your approach to it, or really like explanation to how like to watch Daima?
Is this for like someone that hasn't seen Dragon Ball at all, or they haven't seen it in a long time?
More so like they haven't seen it in a long time.
I see. I think they can just plug themselves into it. I think the first episode, correct me if I'm wrong, don't they do like a whole like rewind of like what happened in the past with the red ribbon and stuff like that?
Yeah, it's pretty much like, not to make it sound bad, because honestly the animation is gorgeous on the first episode. It's pretty much a recap episode with, getting the plot started up.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, so I feel like the show it's applicable to anyone, and this is coming from someone who really hasn't seen much of Super other than like the Tournament of Power arc. And so with that, this is, I think I can relate to people that either haven't seen Dragon Ball in a minute or so. It's very easy to just watch. It does a good job at just being digestible for anybody.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a completely new story, so you can really plug yourself in. I mean, it will have callbacks, but I guess I would say it like this. I went to go see the Transformers 1 movie earlier this year, a few months back, and I never really watched Transformers growing up. I never saw the TV show. I saw like one or two of the movies with Shia LaBeouf, but besides that, I wasn't too much of a Transformers fan. Now that I watched Transformers 1, I was familiar with the characters and whatnot, simply just by growing up alongside, this series that was going along at the time. And I'd say that if you kind of grew up alongside Dragon Ball while it was at its peak and, this and that, I mean, Dragon Ball has always been very popular, but if you've consumed just any of the media whatsoever, if it's been in your peripheral at all, you'll be able to plug yourself into this pretty easily. And one point that I did want to bring up that Jared kind of touched up on was, I do like how this story doesn't necessarily focus on, essentially the fights being the main narrative. I mean, they got turned into children, so figuring out how to turn back into adults is kind of like the driving factor currently that we know so far. So yeah, it's not too heavily reliant on the fight scenes and whatnot.
Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah, honestly, Daima is a lot of fun. I highly recommend it for any Dragon Ball fan, or even just a fan of anime. It's Toriyama's last created work before his passing in March. So yeah, I give it a watch. Give it a watch. So, what I'm gonna follow up on are spoilers for not only episode 8, but also for episode 9 as well. So, if you guys don't want to hear all that, I'll make sure to put timestamps to the next topic, because that's pretty much what we're going to be talking about for this henceforth. So, we'll give you a little timer. 3, 2, 1. Y'all better have skipped. Either way, let us begin. So, give you spoilers. Episode 8 does a little bit of a change to Majin Buu's origin. So originally in Dragon Ball Z, it was believed that Bibidi, the father of Babidi, which they later retconned to be a doppelganger, but that's neither here or there, was the creator of Majin Buu. Then, I believe in about 2014, Toriyama was in an interview and stated that, Buu wasn't created by Bibidi, he just existed, and specifically what he said, in time immemorial, which, if you did not know, is like before anything was created. Like, imagine if like Buu was here and then afterwards a big bang. So that's kind of the way of looking at that. But Daima decided to go in with a new origin, which is there's a new character known as, I believe, Great Witch Marba, and she is revealed to be the one who basically like commissioned Buu for Bibidi, and it led into a whole, Buu went on a whole rampage of the demon realm, and that's what caused the Supreme Kai's people to dip out of the demon realm. So I want to know your guys' thoughts on pretty much Buu's like origin. Keeps on being retconned. How do you guys feel about this new origin that he has?
I like the new origin. I feel like I never really fucked with the original one, to be honest. Like the whole Bibidi thing, I found it kind of annoying. I liked that, like, for when I was growing up, how I saw the Bibidi one, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, because I probably am wrong. I saw it as Bibidi had control over Buu. That's how I just thought it was. But then when you mentioned like a retcon they did, I didn't like that new retcon. But then this retcon they did, where she's the actual like person that quote unquote created Buu, or like created Buu. And even she mentions this in the episode, like Buu, not that he pales in comparison, Buu was an incomplete thing because he couldn't be controlled compared to the new one they're making, which I think is pretty interesting because it shows how destructive Buu was, and it makes sense. Like, it kind of gives more insight into like, why the hell is he so destructive for no reason? And Dragon Ball does a good job at like letting us know, like, there are characters that just want to destroy, or there are characters that want to be the top dog, or characters that want to get rid of anyone that poses any threat and stuff like that. They always give a reason, even if the reason is destruction, just for fun. Like, Buu is kind of like that. I saw some stuff about the upcoming episode, and I know we'll talk about that, but I think this change was very good. I think it's healthy, and I think it helps set up future things for sure, because I do think the Majin, I don't know if it's necessarily a race, but I'll just say the Majin race is very underdeveloped. The lore is very underutilized. They should have done it when the time was happening, like explain more about Buu and his origins, but they never did at the time. So nowadays, getting that, I like it, especially with how much of a writer Toriyama has become, like how much better as a writer he's become. This is literally his story, and this is what he wanted it to be, and I like it. I think it fits.
Okay. Alright, nice, eloquently put. Mr. Louis, how do you feel about this new information that's been brought upon you?
Sheesh. Okay, well, first of all, that was very nicely put by Yash. And second of all, this is the first time that I'm hearing about it, so it's pretty interesting. Yeah, I don't know, it's just interesting. I do like it. I'm not gonna. I mean, how many stuff has been retconned at this point? Would you say? Like, what are some other major retcons that stick out?
So there's a bit. First one being the Supreme Kai and all of his people are originally from the demon realm.
And same thing with everything with pointy ears, essentially, right?
Pretty much. that's gonna go into the second follow-up too.
I think that one was crazy, to be honest. But as far as, again, there's the Oranges of Boo. No, it doesn't completely feel like a retcon specifically just to fit this. Honestly, the pointy ears one does a lot more than anything else.
Yeah.
But the Boo one is kind of one that I'm like, okay, like I can see how you can just plug this in if this is something that maybe you originally wanted to do, then all right, for sure.
Yeah, I do agree that the change from Boo being created by someone else doesn't necessarily like take any like, I guess, weight away from what was initially established. It's kind of like, oh, Bippy was probably like egotistical, so he's like, oh, I created this guy and whatnot. But the pointy ears, definitely, it changes almost like the whole dynamic, because you see someone pointy ears like, oh, is that a demon? So yeah, it definitely, that one was definitely bigger change to the story than the Boo thing. But yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting to see this kind of change and how often it has changed as well. It's probably one of the most changed things that happened within the story. But to follow up that, I'm readying the picture now. Okay. So, in episode 9, basically, Marba is concocting a new Majin for one of the characters, Dr. Arinsu, who is the Supreme Kai's older sister. And in this episode, they reveal that Cybermen were originally from the demon realm. Marba would sell it to outsiders, so that's probably how like the Frieza Force and like the Saiyans were able to get like Cybermen. But in this, she specifically puts a Cyberman seed into the Boo concoction, and I'm sending this now, creates a new Majin called Majin Ku. So let's see. Right. Okay, I'm just waiting for the picture to deliver right now.
Oh, it's delivered.
And basically, once Twitter kind of saw it, everyone was kind of in a frenzy about the whole design and whatnot of the character. So I want to know your guys' thoughts. What do you think about this new character? And even from like a design perspective, what do you think?
I have a question. Is this, because you mentioned Cybermen, do you think he has Cybermen cells in him or no?
Most likely, because they use the like little seed as kind of like a base for the character.
I don't know what's going to happen in the future, but I could imagine this guy blowing himself up like a Cyberman, just based off looks, bro. I'm being a bit prejudiced towards Majins, but like, and Cybermen, but this guy is going to blow himself up, come on. Honestly, like, I get the criticism, like, oh, he looks weird, oh, blah, 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 bro. If he's a Majin, and if this isn't his final form off rip, he's gonna have transformations, because, Dragon Ball, they love their transformations. So I'm assuming he'll have transformations. I'm not sure if he will, but I'm assuming he will. He's not gonna look like that permanently. I feel like he'll change at least once, but if he doesn't, I don't mind the design. I'm not a fan of the colors necessarily. I kind of wish he had just one skin tone like Majin Buu does, but that's just me.
What was the question one more time? Sorry. Just what do I feel about the design? Honestly, it reminds me of Golden Frieza, but it also kind of reminds me of Kui.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie.
People were saying
I mean, alright. How did you say that this came to be? It's a Cyberman?
Yeah, so pretty much Marba made a concoction using a piece of Majin Buu. And to give more explanation to that, I guess Dr. Arinsu was there after Vegeta like exploded himself against Buu and literally just like took a piece of Buu and then just dipped out. Basically, yeah, they made a concoction of Buu and then she put a Cyberman seed into it as like a base.
I see.
Dope. Well, then, that's actually pretty cool. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Why? Honestly, slightly, I don't want to call it out for what it is. It's an original way of making an enemy, I'm not gonna lie, but I don't necessarily think it needed to be like called back and like, look, you needed to make such an explanation for it, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's a little much, but it's cool. I mean, if this was like taking directly, like placed directly after Z, then I'd be like, oh, that's cool, probably.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is like if the show like, you know, was actually like running, maybe after. But after the thing is that at this point, like a lot of callbacks just feel kind of played out.
Yeah, I do agree with you on that. It feels like if this was literally right after like the Majin Buu saga, it would been a lot more organic to have these kind of character reveals and whatnot. But
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, after like so many characters have been kind of rehashed, like, you know, Golden Frieza, the big old Cell Max and all that.
Yep.
It does. I do agree with that.
I will say it feels cool to have another Majin of the Buu level. However, I do agree, like, it's a bit overplayed. Like, we've gotten repeat characters and stuff like that. It would have been cool to get an original character, but it fits the series. One thing I do want to compliment is that if this guy does have, like, Cyberman DNA in him or whatever, like, base, like he said, I think it's super interesting because I'm going to try to paste an image in the messages for you guys to see where Jared posted the Majin Ku image. Growing up there, we had like the Neko Majin manga. That one isn't canon, but it's interesting to see Majins that have a base of another species. I'm not sure about Neko Majin's origins, like if it's a cat that had Majin DNA or something like that, I don't know. But I think it's so cool to see different designs that don't all look the same. But I wish this Majin that we got, this Majin Ku, did look a little cooler, like a little more dope, because I don't mind the color choices. It looks a little strange. It looks a little weird, I will say.
Yeah, for me at least, I do wish it looked more like a Cyberman in comparison to like basically just like an armored up Kid Buu with like what Louis said, like a Kui kind of like face to him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do agree on that. So, I guess switching topics here, we're going from one Dragon Ball media source to another. Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. This game has had a bit of controversy about it. Yeah, it's had a bit of controversy. I guess, are you guys aware of what's been happening as of recently with the game?
No, not at all.
So, to fill you guys in, recently they had a tournament. Bandai Namco set up a tournament from players all around the world to kind of go against each other, like a world tournament. And I believe it was the person who won, the champion, and the runner-up both got disqualified. I know there was some weird stuff happening with the runner-up, but the champion pretty much was using only Android 19 and Dr. Gero pretty much for the entire tournament. And yeah, what they would do is they would just keep flying up and down, up and down. And if you do that strat, literally no attack can hit you. And because they're an Android, they would always have 2 bars of key that would never go away. It would never go away. And so he pretty much just like cheesed the entire tournament. And when people like, not only the fans of the game, but like regular people as well saw that, and it kind of made it seem like, oh man, well now this game kind of just sucks because you can just cheese everything. And sadly, it kind of is. The ranked side of Sparking Zero really showed just how abused certain mechanics can be. If you don't know, a move called After Image Strike allows you to just dodge your opponent's like main melee attacks for like an obnoxiously long time. Some people can just go to full power and then hit you with an unblockable attack that's like 3 or 4 times bigger than you, so you don't really have any way to dodge. And it hasn't been a good look. It hasn't been a good look for the game. So recently they've set up a December patch for the game, and these were some screenshots. I'm gonna send them right over to you guys. And some of the stuff was that they are fixing the character selection screen to be a bit more compressed. For example, as you see, we have Frieza, the Z version of him, and you'd select him, and then you'd be able to select the transformations that he has. We also have split screen as well, and they're also tweaking some of the cost for the skill points to use like specific abilities. If you don't know, that's the one that's like on the side that goes up to I believe about 5 skill points for like a character's maximum. So they're working out the cost of that. So all that information to be said, how are you guys feeling about the state of the game? And what's one thing, or even like multiple things, what are some things that you'd want, to be changed to make it, a bit more palatable for everybody?
I think that, I don't know, maybe just trying to go back to a little bit more of the basic structure to maybe making like a very like classic mode. If it can go back to whatever Budokai Tenkaichi 3 was or Tenkaichi 2. Because I feel like it was not as easy to cheese those games. So just give me Sparking Zero graphics on top of, the gaming mechanics of Budokai Tenkaichi 3. How much of it is, stuff being exploited, and how much of it is kind of like just today's way of competitive gaming? You know what I mean? Because I feel like, especially like within fighting games, it's very much like, I don't know, I mean, I guess within all games, right? Like, it's just kind of a sweat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
100%.
And
100%.
kind of, not only that, but like a sweat while using like exploits, like not really playing the game. You know what I mean? Like, you're just, again, you're going up and down, like you're treating it like a video game. How can I win the match, whatever, while just like not actually taking this seriously type of thing. Or playing it how it's supposed to be played, is what I mean to say. But, just how speedruns, right? Because I guess, speedruns, not to say that I'm hating on anything, right? At least on speedrun. But speedruns before would be how quickly can you get through, this platform game without dying? And, using your stamina bar very strategically, knowing when to dash, knowing when to, use those, small little shortcuts, but not, jumping through the wall using these glitches and, this and that. Now, that's what it is. And so, unless, you're exploiting, you're not speedrunning, right? So, I feel like that's kind of how most games are. If you're not, exploiting, just winning to win, then you're not playing in the game.
Yeah. I think I see what you mean. It feels like what you described, I actually saw the clip on Twitter when it happened, and I didn't realize what I was watching. I was kind of like, what am I seeing? Whatever. I just clicked off of it. But I saw the caption of someone complaining, if this is happening at the grand tournament, blah, blah, blah. I think people lost sight of what the game should have been. And I know the game has, choosing certain characters that have certain point values. That's fine. I don't mind that for the tournament. But the person chose those characters specifically so they could do that strategy and cheese the game. And it's one thing to do it for a speed run, like Luis said. It's one thing. It became that way. Okay, there's not really much you can do about that. People do that for Mario Kart all the time. I get it. But for a game like Sparking Zero, going back to the roots and actually having, it sounds kind of corny, but having a little bit of honor and pride in yourself to actually fight someone and either lose or win through actual fighting instead of running away and firing key blasts the entire time. It's a different playing field, to be honest. It's kind of funny too, because why would you want to win that way? You would be proud of yourself winning a whole world tournament by cheesing it and doing the strat that you did, instead of winning it fairly, even if you're playing a better character than someone else, but fairly, actually fighting them, some of the main characters of the series would want you to. If Goku was real, he'd be laughing at the winner who did that. He'd be like, okay, I wouldn't do that, but okay. Just saying,
for real.
You call yourself a fan of the series, abide by that a little bit. You don't have to be like Goku, but at least don't cheese the finals for the very least. I get trying to make it to the finals, doing whatever you can, but in the finals, fight like a grown adult. Don't run away. I think it's a little weird. I saw the changes that Jared just mentioned. The UI thing is something Luis and I went through pretty heavily, and it was horrible. The old UI made it almost impossible for us to select characters that Jared would text to us, and we had to pick those characters and play as them. And so we both had that issue where we didn't select all the characters because it was just difficult to find them. So I think it's a very necessary change. And then split screen, honestly, that should have been in the game already, if I'm being honest. But I think that helps. That definitely helps the game feel a little more alive for people playing at home, I would say.
Yeah, and then even going to that whole idea of the tournament, it's where's the fun in that? Where's the fun in just exploiting things? There's been talks about how a lot of people in the ranked gameplay of Sparking Zero just trying to get to the maximum rank, which is Z rank, and then just giving it up right afterwards. It's okay, wow, you just kind of just made everyone's day kind of worse just to get something super arbitrary that you didn't even do it honestly. You just cheesed it. You just cheesed everything. Where's the fun in that? Where's the fun? Just play the game. Just play the game, man.
Play the game, bro.
Exactly, bro.
The one that we've been waiting 17 years for.
Exactly. Everyone's been waiting for this, and the first thing you do is, I'm a cheat.
You're a grown adult doing that. Come on. I don't mean to be rude toward the person. I know it sounds like I ranted a bit, but I kind of did, because if I was at that level, the best of the best, I wouldn't even stoop to that level of like cheesing with the android just to guarantee a win. It's like, no, if I lose, I lose. If I win, I win. It sucks to lose, but it happens.
Yeah, man. We're all just trying to have fun here. We're all just trying to have fun. Why you gotta literally, like, you know, why you gotta make everyone sweat? Why you gotta be all sweaty, bro? One thing that people were saying is that key sickness should return into the Sparking Zero gameplay. And for those who don't know what key sickness is, to give an example, back in the Budokai Tenkaichi games, certain characters would be able to insta-spark, similar to how they do in Sparking Zero, and be able to just shoot off their ultimate attack. However, once that ultimate attack is done, they get an icon on the character which makes them charge up ki a lot slower within the game, making it harder to actually set up not even just a super attack but also an ultimate attack. And I want to also say the skill counter in those games were a lot slower than they were in Sparking Zero. Because I kid you not, I saw a YouTuber just showing off some characters. He did a combo to someone else. You know, let's bring up the skill counter. You know, decent amount makes. You know, it made sense for how much it was doing. He does another combo. It doubled just out of fucking nowhere. It was at 1. It was damn near at 3. It wasn't even like a complex combo that like you wouldn't even think about. No, it was like your basic combos. So
dang,
a lot of people have been kind of vocal that the counters, the skill counts should go a lot slower for combos, and also key sickness should be a thing. So what do you guys think about adding those into the game?
Good.
I think key sickness is interesting. I never really encountered it much, but I think it works. I think it's interesting, and it honestly could help even the playing field in tournaments. Like, I think it could make things a lot more fun. I'm gonna give an example because I've been playing Marvel Rivals, and in Marvel Rivals, I told you guys about this. Jeff the Shark has an ability where he can just swallow up the whole enemy team and your own team if you wanted to, and like launch them anywhere or just run off the map and kill them. And it's very overpowered, it's very annoying, but it's the type of thing that evens the playing field. And I think games need to do something like that. Sparking Zero does a great job at letting you evade attacks and like, you know, transport away from attacks and stuff like that and run away from attacks. I think every game should allow the player to get out of attacks in a way, kind of like after image technique. And I think every game, in a sense, maybe not as overpowered as Jeff the Shark from Marvel Rivals, but allowing the player to even the playing field is important to me. Because if I'm getting pummeled, and let's say I have 1 bar left and they still have 4, I want to at least be able to use a move that gets them down to 3. Like, if they get down to 3, I'll feel a lot more hopeful and be a lot more able to do what I want to do. And then for the next thing you mentioned, what was that thing called again?
So the was it the skill counter?
The skill counter. If people are complaining about it, it makes sense, I guess. Like, if it's a worthwhile complaint that many people have been mentioning, like, hey, it's too fast or too slow or whatever, I think it's worth looking into, especially when it comes to people that actually play the game. It's very important to balance it so the game still has life.
Agreed.
Definitely, yeah, exactly, the balancing. Because the more that you prevent those exploits, the better.
The game can be like, unbalanced, how they've been advertising it, but it needs to be at least fair in some shape or form to actually, still be fun. So,
exactly. It needs to be winnable.
Exactly, man. Like, you can't just be always choosing just one character and then they just cook everything else in its path. Like, you gotta have variety. You gotta have variety. Have fun. It goes back to having fun with it. But yeah. And so, that being said, for my last topic of this video, once Daima is done, let's say like in the future, once Daima's all done, everyone's had their fill of it, everything, it was an enjoyable end to it. Where do you think the series should go from there?
Let me think.
Once the season is done?
Yeah, pretty much like once Daima's all done, what do you think should be the next step forward?
And now, sorry to be asking again, but next step forward within Dragon Ball or just in Daima?
It could be, well, I'm saying more so in like general for the Dragon Ball, like TV series, manga, all that.
Dragon
But
Ball
yeah, it could be
itself.
Daima related too.
I'd say if they're retconning stuff, just go ahead and retcon Super and just, I don't know, redo it, but just do it better. Just take out all the filler, redo everything. Can you please, make Trunks, have purple hair, please? Not make him, just some, some guy. Some little anime boy, that has a girlfriend or whatever. And he's, in love with her or whatever, God, man. His mission was to warn everybody, and he was just driven because he wanted to save the future. Come on, that's Trunks. That's the Trunks that I know, man. The freaking guy with the crop top jacket with the cut off sleeves, man. Come on. Long hair and everything. Come on.
Yeah.
So, give me badass Trunks again. And again, take out all the filler. But yeah. In all actuality, though, I'd say if they could just continue on with Super and continue expanding on to what the direction the manga went, because the manga did seem pretty interesting, with Gas and, Black Frieza and all that stuff, so it all seemed pretty interesting. I would like them to go ahead and expand on all that stuff.
Yeah. I think if let's say they're going to do the manga stuff regardless, of course. I agree with Luis when it comes to the filler and Trunks. I think him saying Trunks reminded me that, Goten was shaping out to be one of my favorite characters, and he got done dirty in GT, and he got done dirty in Daima. He got done dirty in every single episode since the Majin Buu arc started. I think Goten and Trunks, I know in the manga, I think they get a little bit of a light shined on them, like the high school days or something like that. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think they have some arc. I want them to have a little more presence. Gohan was supposed to be the next Earth Protector and stuff like that, according to Toriyama, back when, the Cell games happened and Goku had died. And people wrote into Toriyama complaining, and he, didn't retcon, but he basically brought Goku back for the Buu arc because of that. And so I want Goten and Trunks to be a little bit more like they're being trained to fight a little more, be more important. I'm not too caught up in the manga, but I really hope that in the future we do see more gravity to their characters. Even if it's them as teenagers, GT age, doing a fusion. In GT days, everyone wanted that, and we were not rewarded with that fusion. We also wanted a Gohan and Oob fusion and never got that. So just something to do with people that aren't Goku and Vegeta. I know we have some Broly presence nowadays, but some non-Goku and Vegeta presence would be nice. I know we have Gohan and Piccolo. They got like their buffs and they're strong as fuck now, but as much as I like them, I want Goten and Trunks to get a little more presence, and it's a little baffling to me that they haven't really gotten much.
I agree. It's really super, really kind of, you know how like GT was always kind of memed on for being, you know, people call it Goku time. It feels like super kind of hit into that Goku and Vegeta time. You know? So, yeah, honestly, it would be nice. It'd be nice if they kind of made changes, because as much as I have enjoyed Super, there is a lot of problems with it. There is a lot of problems with it that could be very well addressed. Honestly, like for me, I would love it if they kind of focused on Elseworld stories. You know, like
that'd be cool.
Yeah, stories that don't focus on the main cast and just explore other characters and whatnot. Like, bro, they literally have a multiverse. They literally have a multiverse of characters, and not once thought, oh, hey, maybe you can make like side stories about them. Like, bro, that's like printing money right there. An infinite money glitch. You have the name to the series. You got free reign on that. But, you know, that's just me, you know.
For reasons.
Whatever. You know, you can do what you want.
Oh my god.
But on that's all I got. That's all I got for today's episode. Do you guys got anything you want to say to the lovely people?
Check out No Respawn, Linktree down below.
No Respawn. Yeah, No Respawn, Linktree down below. Again, we're always gonna push this. Black MidFall still out there, and please listen. Boys Go South coming out later this month, and POV The Void podcast coming out soon. All the first episode is already recorded and everything. It's all ready to go out there. Just once there's like at least just one video backlogged, or you know, the whole idea is completely fleshed out, then consistent POV The Void podcast will be out there.
Yep. Make sure y'all are geared up for that. Louis showed us a little bit of the podcast and what he has in store, and honestly, it sounds like it's gonna be a lot of fun. A lot of creepy vibes. So, if you haven't already, make sure to like, make sure to comment, make sure to subscribe, make sure to follow us on all of our social media platforms for updates, as well as other announcements that we have on the MidFall channel. But with that is the end of the episode. So stay safe, stay happy, stay in good feelings. It is the Christmas season, everybody. You know, be nice to everybody. You know, be nice to thy neighbor. And with that, we will see you on next time.
Yes.
Goodbye.